All right. Stephen Taylor. This is confusing. This is already confusing. I wasn't introducing myself. I was introducing you.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. So we've got the attractive Steve Taylor and me. So yeah, this is going to be good. So, wow, that sounded a lot gayer than I meant it to.
Rewrite.
Oh boy, this is gonna go great. Oh my gosh! All right, so do you do Steve or Steven?
So mom was old school, and when I was younger, I had to say Steven to appear older. But now that I'm actually getting a little bit older, I'll go by Steve as well.
All right, hey man, I'll take that. I go by Steve just because my mom named me Steven and refuses to call me Steve. So now I'm like, screw it, I'm Steve.
You're fighting back, yeah.
I had to do everything I possibly could to appear cooler than I was.
Yeah,
so, yeah. Oops. All right, so you have a company, Leading IT. And you've got a really pretty website. Who did your website for you?
It was mostly part of Pronto, but a little bit of my design eye and kind of going after, hey, these are the things that I like. Let's make it happen.
Pronto does great work, man. They did my my MSP webinar site, and I couldn't justify spending. I was on the $350 a month package, so
right.
I just couldn't justify spending that when I'm a web designer.
Yeah.
So. And if that's, one of your strengths, then don't pay somebody else to do it. But if you suck at that and need somebody to just do it for you,
they'll knock it out.
Call Pronto. They'll take care of you.
Yeah, totally.
So you talk about cybersecurity threats on your site, and you even do it all cute and adorable, because you capitalize the IT and security.
It's punny.
Mm-hmm. It's punlarious. But no, that's good because it kind of plays off of the Leading IT, right? So you got Leading IT, you've got your tagline is fast and friendly IT, then you got a capital IT and cybersecurity. Does the letters IT, that's like old for you now, right? You're like,
totally, and it's always been like that old adage, right? Some people, I'd say most now, pick up on it, but sometimes you still have to explain it seems.
So the other thing I really like about your website is you've actually got 1, 2, 3. Here's how stupid easy it is to work with us, and you made it look pretty stupid easy. Now, let's be realistic. Is it really that stupid easy?
IT is never simple.
It's not.
The design on the site was really reading the book Story Brand. And in that, they talk about, you've really got to lead the prospect or that customer kind of down that journey and just making it, like you said, stupid simple, right? Instead of, a big audit or getting them all panicked and worried before they even reach out to you and call you. So, yeah, we tried to just kind of design it stupid simple. For us, doing business with us is super easy, I believe. We've tried to take out as many of the hurdles and the roadblocks, but it's IT, it's technology, it's never perfect, but that's why we're here for our clients, right?
Absolutely. And you've even got a nice gimmicky little ebook down here. The technology you should know, but the technology, it's technology because it's
there you go.
KNOW in that. So is that one of the Pronto ebooks as part of their series?
I believe so, or just a takeaway from how we all have kind of access to some of those freebies. Gotcha. And surprisingly, not a lot of people go after that stuff. They're typically, hey, we need somebody to help us out. Let's form fill or make the phone call. So quite often the prospects come in via those funnels than the freebies.
Now, you're a cybersecurity guy, and I'm gonna poke at you because I love to poke the bear, Steve. Here's what our clients think. So all I need to do is call Mr. Tom Palmer from Huntley Park District, Executive Director. Pretend I'm you, because I'm also Steve Taylor.
Yeah, this is perfect.
And let's see what kind of social engineering I can get away with here.
Totally.
So, don't you have concerns about putting client names and like titles, company names, person names on your website?
Yeah, we started to redact some of that. And at the same time, it's so much public, the internet knows everything about us. So if it's not on my website, it's on LinkedIn, it's somewhere else, right? And I think it's still our job, not to bubble wrap everybody and protect them in the sense where, they need to be more aware of what's going on. They need to be diligent in their own right to watch out for something like that, right? And so that's where cybersecurity education, always being on top of, what's the latest, ploy at getting at client data or client information, and then educating our end users to say, hey, watch out for these things. And so cybersecurity awareness is probably more important than just, hey, let's hide all the names and titles and client names, right?
So basically what you're saying is that you guys are so good at cybersecurity that you're going to it's like your version of driving around with a truck with your social security number on it.
Well, not quite yet, although I am getting more and more confident in what we do. We constantly adapt. It's never going to be perfect, right? But I think it's this game of, doing the right things, the best practices. You've got to worry about education and awareness. That's something that, we can't necessarily control or put a policy in place other than providing that as a service and getting the end users to go through that stuff. But it's a game of, always constantly adjusting and continuing to put in more and more, call it a hurdle or a best practice or another layer of security, right? Which is another thing that we've done for years is, you've got to have antivirus filtering at a few different layers, right? You've got to rely on more than one vendor for this kind of stuff. So it's never going to be perfect, but yeah, I do have good confidence in our team to not sweat it like I used to.
Good for you, man. And I'd say let's call it the right answer. I don't know. I mean, do any of us truly know what the right answer is?
No, I think there's so much, right? One of the things is relying on others, the peers in our industry or our vendors, right? What extra knowledge and what, other things have they seen that then we could, oh, okay, I can implement that in our business. Oh, I can implement that with our clients, right? But classic technology, no one of us is ever going to know everything, right? We've got to use our teams. We've got to, use the industry and the vendors that are out there.
All right. So talk to me about what your process looks like for cybersecurity or for just simply managed services for your clients.
Yeah, so we grew, when I started, I was always the classic computer kid that everybody knew, aunts, uncles, cousins, everybody else. And hey, can you come fix the computer, Steve? Yeah, no problem. And so when I first started the business, I quit a job in insurance. I was an insurance broker for a while. Quit that job and said, you know what, I'm going to do this IT computer support type stuff. And back then I would run around and fix your grandma's computer for $50. But over the years, we've grown up, so to speak, into where now we only do an all-inclusive monthly for our clients. So we've got clients in a lot of different industries all across Chicagoland. Maybe some of them have 10 users, but some of them might have 200. But we only interface with them on a monthly all-inclusive. So we're going to bring things like firewalls, backups, antivirus software. We're going to provide the projects and the migrations for them. Of course, we're going to do the help desk and all that stuff. And we really do it on this all-inclusive model where they get everything that we do and they're going to do it the way we do it, right? We have one vendor for firewalls. We have one vendor for antivirus, and we standard, technology stack that across all customers. Now, they're in different industries, so their line of business app may be different, or they may have a few differences than kind of that standard stack, but it certainly simplifies our operation, how we do things. And then it makes it easy too, where we can adapt and adjust. This is older stuff, but we wanted to ensure all of our clients have X password policy with this framework in a GPO, push that to all clients, right? Now more lately it was dark web monitoring. We wanted to deploy that to all clients and adding more of the cybersecurity awareness type stuff. Backup for Office 365 mailbox, whatever it might be, we're able to kind of go get the right vendor that we believe in and then try and mass deploy that to all of our clients. So that instead of us having 80 completely unique, completely different, completely disparate clients, we try and get those very much the same with subtle nuances because of their industry. It makes our operation a hell of a lot simpler. And it makes us working with those customers a lot simpler too.
Very cool. So this is my second recording for the day. My first one was Caleb Christopher, and he runs InfoSec. Oh gosh, my brain's fried. Infosec.io.
Gotcha.
I thought it was a longer URL for some reason. So it's InfoSec Consulting, and I find his service really interesting because he wants to work with guys like you,
right?
And he wants to basically have you resell this cyber risk assessment to your clients, where basically he comes in, he does a third party, we'll call it an audit assessment of your client. He'll ask them all the tough questions. He'll ask you a bunch of questions. He'll even let you know, hey, here's everything I found. You might want to take care of these few quick wins before we have our meeting together in a week.
Right.
And these are the things that I would recommend that the client do. And obviously it's up to you to quote and sell that stuff.
Right.
So have you ever worked with a third party, whether it's a consulting or auditing or whatever, to just, check your work?
We interfaced with like a third party audit to look at, hey, are our systems locked down, et cetera. And it was a cost thing, right? Like some of these are kind of expensive. Long term, I think as we all continue to grow, right, and the industry, I believe, is going to change, whether it's compliance or regulation or certification or something, right? Things are going to change because I don't think, the way things are now, it's not sustainable, obviously, with all of what's happening in the bad, breaches and everything else, and insurance carriers are just paying out, gobs of money. This is not sustainable. For us, I believe we're going to build out kind of that. My goal is to kind of build out that security arm of the company, right? Getting somebody pushed through CISSP certification, right? And then having a team with him to be kind of the security side of the house. That's a little bit of a checks and balances between the typical help desk projects, all those kinds of things. We've certainly done our diligence in going through everything the industry's been talking about. There's been some great vendors putting out great checklists for, hey, you've got to have two-factor on this. You've got to be doing these things, and then you can go back and check all those boxes. And I would say over the last 6-12 months, our team has done a ton of work to make sure that we are checking those boxes. First and foremost for us, right? We've all got to do this in our own house first. And then we're able to kind of put the mask on the clients, so to speak, with the airplane analogy. So I believe we've done a hell of a lot of work and we've done the right work, but no, we've not gone through and kind of passed that third-party audit yet.
Okay. And that's fair. Oh, I corrected my posture and I screwed up my camera position there. Oops. So all right, so the next question I have is, what types of quick wins do you guys like to look for when you bring on a new client and you just want to immediately, we're gonna put these few things in place and immediately start to see everyone feel happier, and maybe the client's less stressed, or they're just really impressed. Like, can you give me like 3 things that you think you implement rapidly to make them super happy?
Yeah, I would say, a lot of that stuff comes out in the sales process, right? Classically, the best and the quickest, wins with signing a new customer are those that are in pain, right? And they're telling you, hey, our systems are just so slow. One of our favorite stories was a client, their email would go down once a week without fail, so to speak, right? And I'm like, we can fix that. I assure you the team can fix that. There's zero reason for that, right? It was Exchange, low disk space was my off the cuff guess, and sure enough, I was right. So first and foremost, like, let's correct the things that they're challenged with that they vocalized with us off the bat, right? But to your point, I think when we come in with standard good enterprise level firewall and good antivirus software and a rock solid backup system, right? And when we put in the gear that we know, love, and trust, that then makes their environment act more the way it should. It's not going to be sluggish when a backup is trying to snap, right? The antivirus software isn't riddling the machine and slowing it down, right? And so when we come in kind of that first 30 days and do our best practices with our standard stack, the client already is noticing some of these changes, and wow, the technology is starting to work a little bit better, and I can trust it a little bit more, and it's there for me, right? And then I think the other one would be just being a provider that's there for them. Someone who answers the phone and is there for them when technology inevitably lets them down, right? We know that email is not going to connect at for some reason at some point, and Susie's not going to be able to get her inbox, right? And she's going to be frazzled, and she's going to need help. And all she wants to do is have someone she can call and get that issue fixed, someone that's going to listen and get it taken care of. Versus, some of the other providers that might be, well, put in a ticket and we'll get back to you in a day or 3 days or whatever it is, right? And so we've built our business on answering the phone, right? And being readily available for those quick wins, those quick issues. And I think over time that rebuilds that trust because classically, maybe they were dealing with a one-man band who just couldn't keep up, no fault of his other than he's busy, right? Or, a provider that, doesn't have phone support or it goes through an auto attendant or they really triage it and you can't really get that instant support. With us, it's a totally different experience. And I think that's what's really helped our growth.
And that's cool. But I feel like a lot of MSPs say the same thing. No offense.
Totally. No, totally.
A lot of MSPs say, "Oh, well, we're better," or whatever their version is.
Better, faster, stronger.
Yeah. So, what are you doing that is maybe a little more unique to you? And I get that installing stuff that's not just a big heaping pile of crap might be unique to you in your area, but I'm thinking more nationwide, unique to you, or maybe even just like across the state, unique, like.
I hear you, but I think it's a funny thing on how simple it can actually be, right? It is that blend of putting in the right gear. This is stuff, our process we've learned over the last 10 years, right? And we may still have a vendor or something that's just not right. We're constantly adjusting that, right? So our soup and our recipe is always evolving based on what's happening, right? But a lot of it is going back to the basics or the simple things of, you've got to be doing the patches. You've got to have, like you said, really good hardware and software and services that you're bringing. And answering the phone, you'd be surprised at how many competitors I still see, right? Auto attendant, not there for them, or I'm hearing it from the prospect, they didn't get a call back for a day or two. So it's astonishing to me how simple it is, right? To your point. But it still beats the market of what's out there because there's quite a few providers still, and I think this is nationwide, who are maybe stuck in their ways. They've been doing it the same way for 15 plus years, right? and maybe they just don't have the team or the resources to be able to answer the phone, to be able to have that fast response, right? And yes, it can be in platitudes and it can be just in marketing material. You really should be a provider who delivers that versus just talks about it.
Okay. So let's change gears. Let's talk about everyone's favorite topic, COVID-19. Don't worry, I won't ask you if you have any strategies for getting your PPP loan or I'm not going to ask you how do we work from home. It's been months, okay? This isn't new. We don't want to talk about that, but I am curious how many of your clients. And I'm not looking for like specific numbers. I'm thinking more like percentage or, that kind of stuff. How many of your clients or how much of your revenue was non-essential?
So we've lucked out pretty well. I think, a lot of the industry has talked about for years and years, you've got to go niche, right? Go narrow in one industry of clients and serve the crap out of them, right? And you can do that pretty lucratively. I've always stayed based with customers in all different industries, right? We've got some niches. We do a lot with nonprofits. We do a lot with government entities, but we've got car dealerships, park districts, you name it. There's probably at least one client in our book of business that's in an industry. And I'm thankful for that, right? Because I feel that has insulated us. We had a handful of customers, not a lot, pull back a little bit. Hey, we're going to, maybe furlough some people or kind of put a few things on pause. But surprisingly, I've heard more stories from our clients about how they're thriving in this, right? They actually were able to, ramp up manufacturing because of X, Y, and Z, or businesses actually doing pretty well. So we've weathered it pretty well, thankfully, and I'm grateful for that. And I don't know if that's, just a little bit of luck of the draw or, kind of because of that, slew of different industries versus, if we were only in hospitality or restaurants, we'd be out of business.
Yeah, that would suck.
Right.
I do feel really bad for the MSPs out there that said, I'm going to work specifically with a niche. And it's not going to be healthcare or funeral homes or police stations. I'm going to go work specifically with mom and pop retail stores.
Yeah.
Just really love working with them.
And who would have thought, right?
Yeah.
One of the cool things about all this has been how technology has enabled and saved, right? And I keep saying it, 5 years ago, I don't know that the tech and the software and the services and the internet was capable of doing what we've been able to do in this. Knock on wood, the vast majority of this experience has gone pretty well for us. It's not, it's not optimal. We all want to be around other people and we want to be, have that normalcy again. But technology has kind of been saving us all, not only in business and in our work roles and in working from home, right, but also in, fellowship and community and being able to meet with people and everything else, right? So it's been kind of cool in a good way how, technology has saved us in all this amidst, the bigger challenges.
You're absolutely right. And I think, 5 years ago, this would be a very different landscape.
Yeah.
And think about it. What was it? 10, 15 years ago? Remember when how long have you been doing this?
And so we've been in business for 10 years.
Okay. So before that, did you work for a consulting firm or anything?
I was always a tinkerer. I kind of learned by doing. So, when I was a kid, 12 years old, I was the one taking apart the computer, putting it back together like the rest of us. So I've always been around it.
Okay. So, and the reason I ask is because I remember working for the man, and we always used to just bitch and moan because, man, I just wish Symantec Backup Exec wasn't so expensive. I just wish we could like pay a monthly subscription for this thing. Because
Right.
holy moly, this software is expensive. How great would it be to just pay monthly, and then we could get the latest version whenever we want? And now we've got death by SaaS, man.
death by credit card payment.
Oh, and now it's like, man, I wish I could just pay like one time, like ConnectWise. Here's $10,000. Can I just have this software and you leave me alone? Like,
it's the double-edged sword of technology, right? On one hand, we're always changing. It's always exciting. There's always more, and it's getting better and faster. But it's also the, oh my gosh, hold on tight, because here we go.
Now, so you and I have been operating independently for about the same amount of time. Did you use any of the PSAs or RMMs back when you could buy them as perpetual licenses?
You know, my memory never serves me very well, but I think when we first got into some of the ConnectWise stack type stuff, it was more of a pseudo purchase model, not own it for life, though, like you might be alluding to.
So I remember 8, 9, 10, whatever years ago, ConnectWise, you would pay monthly for, let's call it 3 years.
Yeah.
And then the payment would drastically go down because then all you have to pay for is the maintenance.
Right.
And now they've really they've learned that they've shot themselves in the foot with that.
Yeah.
Because now they've got all these people that are on the in-house hosted perpetual ConnectWise, and they're like, well, so we made all these new features, and if you would like them, we'd love for you to have them, obviously. But, and then it's like, man, I paid for this thing. Like, stop taking away my maintenance.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you can pay the maintenance. It's just the same amount as renting it.
How convenient.
And I don't blame them. They're in business to make money too. And it costs a lot of development dollars to build some of these features. So I don't blame them for doing that one bit. I mean, it is genius. And if you have the perpetual version, just stop paying the maintenance, stop complaining, and use it as it is.
Yeah.
I mean, the product is flawless. It's not like you ever need tech support.
Right.
You can't see them because they're off camera, but my fingers are crossed.
I have a line that says, all tools suck. Just pick one that you're willing to put up with.
I wonder if it was you that I spoke with at an event a couple years ago, because somebody said something to me and it really stuck with me. They said to me, because I was that guy that would keep switching. Like every 3 to 6 months, I would switch something. PSA, RMM, firewall, whatever, man. Anything to not go out and sell.
Right.
So somebody said something to me at this event, and it's always stuck with me. All PSAs and RMMs suck. You just have to find the one that sucks least for you.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way of saying it, too.
So it wasn't you then.
No, maybe not. Well, not like that. Maybe it was another Steve Taylor.
I don't remember the guy's name. I don't even remember what the guy looks like. That's how poor my memory is.
Yeah.
So, So with all this pandemic stuff going around, have you decided that maybe you are going to maybe focus, maybe not on one industry, but maybe you want to focus on a few industries, and maybe they'll just happen to all be essential businesses?
Well, I think definitely a few industries came to light in this where I thought, all right, let's go after a few more customers in this segment. But more so, I think it's now a better opportunity for us to look at mergers and acquisitions. I think a lot of IT business owners have been doing this for 15 years. They're getting a little bit older. It's been difficult prior to this, it's been difficult, right? With this cybersecurity wave. Now you throw COVID at that, and I think you've got a lot of people looking at, you know what, I don't know that I'm cut out for another 3 to 5 years of this. Is this my time to exit or merge or do something else? And so I'm looking to pursue opportunities like that. But yeah, I think, for us, it's continue to grow the way we've been growing, and then look at a few other, maybe unique or more, to your point, the essential industries, and keep doing what we're good at. And, like most of us, our businesses classically grow from great referrals. And you've got a market for those, and you've got to call your customers and ask the question and kind of pull it out of them. But, quite often we find more people in that client's industry just by getting the referrals, by doing good work and asking for the referral.
Very good. And one of the industries that I love to talk about, because I've worked with quite a few of them in my area, funeral homes. Now it's a bit morbid, I know, but everybody dies eventually, man.
It is the most essential.
Well, and you got to think, like, okay, we might, this country might fall into such disarray where people are like, well, I'll just bury grandma in the backyard. I mean,
Oh my goodness.
So I guess there's a chance that we won't need funeral homes anymore. But I feel like that is definitely like, funeral homes and, guys like us, we're not supporting hospitals, they've, unless it's for something real specific, like maybe you're running their Cisco phone system for them as outsourced consultants.
Yeah, more primarily it's small medical offices, things like that. Yeah,
exactly. You might be working with eye doctors, dentists, PCP,
right,
primary care physicians, but you're not going to be working for Cleveland Clinic.
No.
So those would be great if you could get into some healthcare. And another thing that would be great is financial.
Absolutely, and always. And I think quite a few actually have niched in that or done well and carved out a bit of that. We've had, a couple at times and over the years, and they've been good customers, right? It's a necessity in their business.
And I was looking at this document. I'm going to pull it up because I don't want to misquote anything. It's the IT spending and staffing benchmarks for 2019 and 2020. And this is by Computer Economics. I didn't write this. I'm not trying to claim any of this as my own. But the interesting thing that they have in here is how much certain industries spend on IT. And it's actually, the results will shock you. No, really, it's actually kind of shocking when you look and you see, holy moly, here's how much some of these companies spend on stuff. And the average for financial services is that for all IT spend, which I assume also means equipment, internet, phones, maybe, It gets a little dicey when you start getting into telecommunications, because some companies segment that out, but right. They're talking about how it's 4 to 12% of the gross revenue.
Wow.
For financial services.
Yeah, that's more than I would have guessed.
Right. It's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And financial services is the highest when it comes to how much they spend. So the lowest might have been retail. I don't recall.
Yeah. Right.
I didn't care about the lowest. I didn't. I cared about the highest.
The target markets.
Healthcare was the second highest, but that one was still more like a 2.5 to 6 or 7% type of thing. So if you think about it, yeah, financial services is where the money's at, man. And again, it was very generic what I saw. So it's not like it said, well, you should go after this type of financial service, or because this one's on the 12% end. avoid these because it's, I don't know, but if you think financial services, it's more than just banks. I feel like more than credit unions too. We're not trying to play semantics here. I'm also thinking of people that do like wealth management and that type of stuff.
Totally.
And you might think, well, those guys all work for the big companies, but most of them don't work for them. They're 1099s, which means they have their own staff that they pay. They have their own building and they have their own technology. So a lot of those like insurance places and wealth management, investing, all of that stuff, those are typically independently operated.
Yeah, man, in my experience, we've had, some of those that might have 10 or 15 employees all the way up to 35 or 50. And you're absolutely right. They're their own kind of animal. Now they'll interface with a broker dealer and you might have, compliance things, but like you said, that's where the money's at.
It sure is. And, you brought up compliance, and that takes me to another good point. And I can't wait to have this conversation again. Because I don't remember if I had this conversation on the air or off the air with Dave Sobel. IT is one of those industries that, like, why are we not regulated yet? Like, there is so much risk with what we do. And you look like, I would like to think that what we do is just as critical, if not more critical, than what some other professional service providers can offer. Yet, there are attorneys out there charging $400, $600, $1,000 and more an hour. And then we're out there struggling to do 100 or 200,
So I was a few years as an insurance broker, right? Licensed, had to go and do continuing ed and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm fascinated by that. You're right. Like somehow we've flown under the radar maybe. And I think moving forward, that's probably going to change. I'm not totally sure how. But even if you look at it from, cybersecurity insurance perspective, the apps, I pulled our clients to get their cybersecurity apps from a bunch of different insurance providers. And some of the apps were, do you have backup? Check yes or no. Whereas others were a lot more robust in asking, is it a daily snapshot? Do you have the entire image? Is there an offsite? And making sure that, the client was checking those boxes. And I feel, again, I said it, these carriers cannot keep sustaining $500,000 breach and ransomware payments. So eventually they're going to have to change something, right? Premiums are probably going to go through the roof. And or maybe do they start to look at our industry and say, well, we need you to be vetted, or there needs to be something before we're willing to, insure our clients, right? Or does it come down from the government and there's some type of, ongoing education, certification, accreditation, whatever it might be? I definitely believe something's got to give.
And I agree with you there, but I don't know what the something is. I don't know what the right answer is.
Nope.
I think you and I can both agree, like, we're not politicians. Yeah. We have no aspirations of doing any of that. So it's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah, I think something will change. I don't know what yet. And it's classic. Do I necessarily have any control over it? Can I change it? No. So right now I'm not exactly worried about it. It's just in the back of my mind for the horizon, to be prepared for what might change.
Absolutely. All right. So what else you got, man? Anything? What?
One of the things I wanted to talk about, which I've been fascinated with for the last, couple of years, I'd say, but you're getting ready for it, huh?
Oh yeah.
The data report every year, right, where they do the survey. The second biggest worry on or need from all of us in the industry, right? Number one, sales and marketing, right? And I think that there's so many different resources, there's so many different vendors in that space. But the number two one was work-life balance. And it's something that I've been fascinated with, right? I think as most of us do when we start our businesses or we're in our business, we give it everything we've got, right? we spend every day, every hour attached to our phones, attached to our notebooks, right? And it's work, 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 work. And you kind of have to, right? To build a successful business, you have to do all that stuff. But like I alluded to earlier, this industry is getting older. It's getting more challenging. It's being more taxed. And so I think it's hugely important for all of us to, help and encourage each other to take some time out of our day, right? Get outside, take care of our health, right? And in an interesting way, COVID has, kind of highlighted some of this stuff. All of our commutes went down to zero. We're able to spend more time at home with family in a good way. And, there's less of the busy schedule than before. And so it's something that I often spend time on and thinking about and kind of designing my own life. I want to continue to grow my business and be successful and help others. And our growth is going to mean more good for more teammates and more clients. But I'm not willing to do that by sacrificing myself, so to speak, in health, wellness, travel, and all those kinds of things. And so I've made a lot of different shifts in my business, in my life over the years towards that. And I'm out there, putting some messaging and content to that end, right? How can you kind of live the life that when we all first started our business, what did we want? We wanted financial freedom. We wanted, the ability to be control our own schedule and our destiny, right? And to be able to go and do the things in life that we all love. And I think for most all of us, we end up, buried in the business, working in the business versus on it. And then also to working on our life and what we want out of our lives.
I like that. So you brought up the data report that they have not released the 2020 yet, right?
Not to my knowledge. I haven't seen it.
Okay. Now, when is the next DataCon?
Wasn't it recently or just now postponed or canceled, right?
Yeah, I thought they were going to do it remotely, but I haven't really been paying attention, to be honest.
Well, I think that's news of, the last week or two. It's brand new news.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's good to know. So, looking at their report from last year, the Data 2019 State of the MSP report, you can get it, literally just Google it. 56% of MSPs specialize their services for a particular industry.
Oh, there you go.
56%. And of the group, the most popular verticals are healthcare, finance, and legal.
Yeah.
Now, legal is a concern for me these days. I'm sure people have jokes, but the reason I say that is because, courts are all closed. We literally, I've got colleagues that are trying to go after former clients that they're not going to get any type of judgment or anything until the end of July.
Everything's on pause, huh?
It is. So with that, our law, I don't even understand, what are law firms doing right now? Because I know they do more than go to court,
Yeah. We've got a couple, but I think maybe it's because it's in, one of them specializes more in real estate transactions and that kind of thing. And a lot of them are working from home trying to do things, but the court side of it, either slowing them down or inhibiting them. I guess it's just going to create a backlog of work that when the, doors, so to speak, open, that they're going to be busier than a pig.
Mm-hmm. And you also mentioned what's keeping MSPs up at night.
Right.
Marketing and sales and work-life balance, like you said. Revenue growth is third, and ransomware cybersecurity is fourth. I feel like cybersecurity should be up so much higher.
Absolutely agree. It'd be curious, right, if we look at the 2020 data, if that doesn't jump up a few categories. It really should.
And to clarify, when I say, third and fourth, so people were able to select multiple choices. It was one of those check all that apply. So 30% of the people that responded said ransomware, cybersecurity, are something that keeps them up at night. That's a concern. Nobody was worried about customer churn. That was 6%.
Wow.
I'm dying to see what some of these numbers look like
This year.
whenever they release the state of the MSP report for 2020,
Well,
because especially it really depends on when they did the survey,
Yeah. Well, and with cybersecurity, like I think even if you feel like you've got the boxes checked and you've got your bases, things are in order, you should still be concerned about it. It's an ever-changing thing that I don't know that we're ever going to get perfect, right? And so for me, it's always a concern. And we have a weekly meeting, with a few team to like be paying attention to what's happening. Maybe vendors are putting down information and news. Maybe you're hearing about breaches. Okay, can we get a little bit more information on how that happened? And then again, this constantly adjusting thing. So I would think that should be on all of our minds throughout, the months and days.
It absolutely should. What else is spinning around the head of Steve Taylor?
It's kind of a crazy time. Everything in life is both sides, right? I think with COVID, it's been exciting to see technology shape and enable all of us. It has also been a hell of a lot of work for all of us in the industry. And that comes, at a time where it's not like we weren't busy to begin with, right? With all of, the end of last year was, Windows 7 and server migrations and everything else, right? The cybersecurity wave. And so it really has been this trifecta of a hell of a lot of work in a good way and in a challenging way for our industry. And I guess that just gets me to go back to, I often hear from, those of us in our industry, our peers, everybody else, and you can almost gauge how well someone is feeling and doing and acting based on how well, they're taking care of their health and wellness or their fitness or whatever it might be, right? It's going to be individual to you. But I think now more than ever, it's a super important time for us all to be taking care of ourselves, right? What am I doing to recharge the batteries, so to speak, and be at the top of my game so that we can show up the best for our teams, our company, and our clients? Because this industry, I don't think, has ever been more challenging.
Absolutely. My brain hurts, man.
We're at the end of the week, right? We're about to move into the 4-day week where thankfully, we do kind of get that one day off, more so than usual. And so, it's that classic Friday, man, we did a hell of a lot this week. It's time to go rest.
It absolutely is time to go rest. Before we do, I'm dying to know, do you have anything special or exciting planned for Memorial Day? I know that you're probably not necessarily doing the thing that you had hoped to be doing this time of year.
Right. Well, so I got a little antsy a few weeks ago, and I actually started taking a road trip. I've got a van that's kind of decked out. And I thought I was going to be gone for the weekend, but I ended up taking a 3-week road trip all along down the East Coast, down into Georgia, and got to kind of get out, be outside, be near the ocean. And so I'm thinking I might do a little mini repeat here this weekend with the extra day off. So,
well, good for you.
Yeah.
And if you find yourself driving through the Cleveland area, let me
stop
know.
on over.
Well,
wave on over.
Restaurants are opening.
See, yeah.
So if you decide, hey, I'm really craving like wings. Like for those of you that have actually been paying attention to these episodes, can you tell I am just dying to get out and get some flipping wings? Like it's just
Finally, it's opened up.
I want to order like 100 wings and have them all delivered to me. You have no idea. I'm fiending.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna call Buffalo Wild Wings, be like, hey man, I got the money, you got the stuff?
You got the hookup?
Man, can you bring some of that over? Never done drugs in my life. But weed is doing so well for me right now. And what I mean by that, Steve, is I started day trading just for giggles.
Well, like I said, we all have a little extra free time. We need a different hobby now.
What else am I going to do?
Uh-huh.
So I keep buying all these random stocks, and then I'll sell them. Like
Right.
after because I'll buy stuff, and like more times than not, I've so far for the most part broken even. All right. So more times than not, I'm able to, in my opinion, sell them and make a boatload of money. It's when I start buying stock options that I really screw up my metrics, right? But I keep buying pot. Like,
It's on the up.
it is really like what I keep telling my wife, when they legalize it in Ohio, I'm going to try a pot brownie to celebrate. And that'll be the first time I've ever used weed.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to walk into a dispensary and I'll be like, "Hello, good sir. I'll have 3 weeds, please."
Uh-huh. It's such a funny transition, right? Going from like the underground illegal, we don't talk about it, to now, I gotta go to the store.
Well, what's real interesting is when you look at the research, because I've got Robinhood Gold, Steve. I'm taking my day trading very seriously. No, I just want access to the money that I put in there, So, but they give you all this extra research, right? And so you look at, I think right now the one that's doing really well for me is Afria.
Yep.
APHA. You're like, oh yeah, I know that one. I've got 300 shares. Was that?
It's on my watch list.
Well, I am up total return 8.7%.
Wild.
I've got 100 shares of it. I never thought in a million years I'd say I've got 100 shares of literally anything. Like, but what's interesting is, like all the research that you see on this stuff, depending on which one you're looking at, it's like, well, we think it's going to kind of plateau once it gets to about here because there's such a big black market for weed still. I'm like, black market weed? Oh, that's literally what weed is in every state where it's not legalized. Oh boy.
The old way of doing things.
Yes. Literally, it's just Ohio weed. That's what they're talking about. So I don't even know where to get weed. Is it in the phone book? Like, how do you find this stuff? Steve's like, stop asking me these incriminating questions.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Well, hey, I know today's kind of a short one, but it's 4:30. I want us to leave early and get a nice early start to our 3-day weekend.
Absolutely. It was good talking to you, Steve.
You too. Thanks so much for hopping on here. And I'd love to pick your brain sometime about cybersecurity. In fact, I want to introduce you to the guy from infosec.io. I think you two would love the conversation. You could nerd out together. It would be great.
Yeah. Awesome.
Take care, man.
See you.